Welcome to Thursday Night Knives. I'm Bob DeMarco. Coming up, we're going to take a look at a new version of the Fisher Blades Beckwith Covert. We talk about the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway knife. No, we don't. We do a random knife giveaway. Sorry, that's my own mistake. And what's on your mind? Anything new? Anything new going on? I want to show you something really cool. Something that I received, frankly, from our future president. He says, "You're a really great dad, the best, really terrific, very handsome. Other dads, losers, total disgrace. Everyone agrees. Believe me." My daughter got this for me when we went to Rehoboth Beach, ironically, Joe Biden's home. And, I don't know how you all feel, but I'm feeling a little bit relieved, especially for the knife rights angle of things, aside from, the affordability of gas and being able to afford groceries. So congratulations, America. And for those of you who don't feel that way, I'm not trying to alienate anyone. When your candidate wins every once in a while, it feels good. Now, we'll just move on from there. So it is open mic night. Let me know what you guys are thinking about. I want to show you something cool that I just got from David Cam at Orion Blades. I have two knives here on the table that are new that I completely forgot about when I was writing up this show. But that's all right. I've shown them and on the midweek supplemental, and I'll be showing them again in their own private videos. So it's not such a big deal that we don't have lower thirds for this. But this thing is so damn cool. And I commented, someone brought this up the other night on one of the live streams, one of the Thursday Night Knives recently. And I had just seen this on Instagram and thought, man, what a beautiful blade that is. And I really like David Cam's work. David Cam, who is Blade Banter, but really he's the founder of Orion Knives. There's the logo Orion, the Orion's belt there. And this knife, his knives, I got to say, they're very, very good EDC knives, but they always lean towards, or at least maybe not always, but recently, the last two knives I've gotten from him lean towards the tactical. And of course, I really appreciate that. I love that drop point tanto with the center line point and nice hollow grind, very, very sharp. I can tell with this thumb. The other thumb, I can't tell. Little flat ground front portion. This thing's ready to go into anything, really. I love it. It's got, I guess the real unique selling proposition of this one is that button lock there. The button lock is right on the pivot. So maybe I'll call it a pivot lock, actually. Pivot lock. This is my first pivot lock ever. I believe I got a chance to... at Blade Show a couple of years ago when CRKT came out with the deadbolt, kind of the same thing from the outside. It looks the same. I don't know how this one works on the inside. I haven't taken it apart. But the deadbolt lock from CRKT is two bolts, two pins that go through two holes in the blade and are vanquished or cast aside. Disengaged is the best word, I guess, when you press the button. Those little pins get out of the way and come out of the holes, and the whole blade closes. This, of course, is G10 and sculpted pocket clip. Not sure the material, probably titanium. And then we have a bunch of G10 on that handle. So a really, really cool knife. I love this thing. It feels great in hand. It's got a nice 3.7-inch 14C28N Tonto blade. And I'm very grateful to David for sending this along to me, because I was eyeing it up, and he said, "Oh, you want one?" And I was, what am I going to say? No? Yes, of course. I love it. So there it is. This is the Orion Knives Ares. Ares, the god of war, the Greek god of war. The Romans, my people, co-opted all the Greek gods and called him Ares. So that's what this is. This is the Roman god. Oh no, they called him Mars. This is the Greek god Ares. But you could easily call it Mars, especially if you're an eye-tie such as myself. So what's going on, people? What's going on out there in the wider world? Let me show you something else that's pretty cool. And I think I may have shown this to you. OG Blade Reviews. Very nice to have you here, sir. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Glad we're all back in the saddle again at TNK. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for mentioning that. I had a horse situation. It actually was not due to sickness. It was due to yelling, but not at anyone. It was kind of primal scream time for me in the car. Sometimes that works. I'm pretty sure that's what horsed out my voice. I got deer smashed my window. A bunch of other stuff was going on a very, very busy day. I call it a Goodfellas day. You know, I got to bring silencers over to Jimmy, and then I got to pick up the cocaine and bring it over here to the hotel, and girls, and there's a helicopter chasing me, you know. If you're watching, just tuning in, that's Goodfellas. I don't sell cocaine. But, you know, it was one of those days where just everything was happening. And then a freaking deer, beautiful little fawn, jumped over the hood of my car and just missed and clacked its heels on the passenger side of the glass, shattered it. And as it was happening, he looked at me and I looked at him. We were both like, oh, it was funny, right out of a movie. Have a nice day. Good to have you here, sir. From Hinderer, a conversation on Instagram. Our policy is, our policy this year, our policy this last year was to only do content at Blade with our dealers. Okay, wait, hold it, stop. Have a nice day says, from Hinderer, a conversation on Instagram. Okay. Our policy this last year was to only do content at Blade with our dealers. Fine. I stopped chasing Rick Hinderer around a couple of years ago. He seems like a tool. I mean, he's from Ohio and he did a lot of innovation and I love his knives, but he seems like a tool. And if he comes on here, I'd love to talk to him still. But I mean, I've seen him kind of be a dick a lot to various very small people who just want to enhance the experience of a Hinderer knife, say by making scales or something like that. So he's not coming on here anyway because I'm not a dealer. Maybe if I can offer him some money by dealing his knives, Rick Hinderer would come on here. And by the way, also, I hear his heat treating is not the greatest. I wouldn't know because I don't push my knives that far. I'm not trying to dish on Rick Hinderer. You know, a lot of greats are dicks. Pablo Picasso, Caravaggio, who was a murderer, made a nice painting of a saint, and he got back in the good graces of the church. So, great art does not mean great person. You have to learn to separate. Like, I love Robert De Niro movies. He's a despicable person in real life, but I can't stop. I'm not going to stop watching Taxi Driver or Raging Bull because he's a dork in real life. So yes, separating art from artist, important. Have a Nice Day says, we can all do content everyone wants to do. So we chose to only do dealer interviews as they are only partners and deserve priority. All right, whatever, Rick. I reminded them that those that purchase their knives share them enthusiastic. Yeah, buy their knives for a lot of money. I'm not saying they're not worth it, but you know, anyway, not that he owes anything to anyone. You know, he makes a knife, he sells it, but if you didn't want to be a dick, you could. I reminded them, says Have a Nice Day, that those that purchase their knives share them enthusiastically with the community and look to help those in spending their hard-earned money should also be considered as partners. I couldn't agree with you more. Hopefully, they can remember that YouTubers are a great source of their continued success. I currently stand at owning one, a Hinderer 3-inch XM18 Sponto M390 Black G10. Yeah, I mean, it's undeniable. His knives are so cool, and his fixed blade knives also are so cool. But, and I guess to a very select group of individuals, he's a nice guy. But you know what? Like, if being in the public eye, and he's not in the public eye, he's in the public eye to knife people, which is a vanishingly small section of the population. But if you don't want to be in the public eye, that's fine. You don't have to be, but you also don't have to be, well, like that. Have a Nice Day says, so that's what is on my mind. How about you? I'm just pissed, man. No, I'm just kidding. That kind of irks me a little bit because yeah, I mean, I've approached him a few times and man, I've never gotten the brush off like that. Not that anyone owes me anything, but you know, usually people are cool. Anyway, let us not dwell. Have a Knife Day says, I have also recently acquired a vintage A.G. Russell Tak Fukuda Seki Japan wood fixed Bowie hunting knife. Jeez, that sounds cool. You had me at AJ Russell, vintage AJ Russell. Need to get a leather sheath for it. Came with a nylon sheath. I think it's kind of interesting that oftentimes you'll buy a custom knife or find a really cool knife and they don't sell the sheath. And I get it, like Cone's Craft, he doesn't make sheaths at all. He makes incredible knives. So it's up to you to get the sheath. And I that's kind of cool in a way. But I also think like you should give them something, maybe just a little Kydex something or a little something, just as a courtesy. Pete, nice to have you here. Pete Davidson, good day, Bob, Jim, and the rest of the junkies. How's it hanging? Low and to the right, my man. Maybe not so low. I dropped my K390 Endura on the concrete floor of a cool room yesterday. It bounced off a keg and landed tip first. Pete, you've been listening to me too long, man. That's a DeMarco move right there. No, I should say that's a Bob DeMarco move there. I picked it up after a squeal and a couple of rude words to discover zero damage. Not even a mark on the mirror polished edge. K390, you say, huh? Pete says, it would be nice to see more companies take their flagship / tried and true models and improve them or upgrade them rather than just discontinue and release new models. Adding MagnaCut doesn't count. No, it does not count. But I agree with you. I think that maintaining old models and bringing out new models is a cool thing. We talk a lot about, are you a Tops or are you a CRKT or CRK? Meaning, are you Chris Reeve Knives and you have like, a select number of models and you do them all to the nth degree, or do you have a catalog like Tops that's huge and you still do them to the nth degree? So it's an interesting question. Pete Davidson says, improve heat treatment, fit and finish, handle and blade material options are all things I would like to see on a flagship model rather than a new or multiple models from a brand. Well, that's interesting. That's exactly what you're saying about the K390 on your Endura. My Endura with what is it? VG10. I guess that would probably break at the tip if you dropped it like that. It's not as tough because it's more stainless, I guess, right? Ground Fog, nice to have you here, Ground Fog, with your creepy avatar. You know what, Ground Fog, sometime you should write in the comments what all of those things say under the skull, because I can't read them, but I'd be interested. Marco, nice to have you here, Marco. Evening, Bob and Knife Junkies. Evening to you, sir. James Hart, nice to have you here, James. Evening, Junkies, and everyone there. Fix for the day, getting their fix for the day. Yes, indeed. I'm going to put this away. Very cool knife. I want to show you another cool one I got since last we spoke. Sword XXY. Good day, Bob, Jim, and fellow addicts. Hello to you, sir. Broke Arizona Knives, or AZ. I'm assuming it's Arizona Knives. Broke Arizona Knives, square. Well, square right back to you, sir. I hope you're enjoying your evening. Split and Slices says, howdy, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Byron, hello to you, sir. Thursday Night Knives, he says. James Hart, MagnaCut is a flash in the pan. Soon something better will come along. Well, okay, I'll agree with you on soon something better will come along, especially considering the fickleness of the public, especially the steel buying public. But I think MagnaCut is here to stay. It's really great and designed by a genius knife steel guy, Laren Thomas. So when the new thing comes out, it'll probably be formulated by him. Nikki Trelease, nice to have you here, Nikki. Hello, everyone, she says. Hello to you. Matthew, huge honor. Yes, it is a huge honor. That's right. Very, very handsome. Really terrific. I always said that terrific is it's a sleazy Hollywood producer word. Your script is terrific. I love your script. Why don't you come up to my hotel room tonight? Let's discuss. I really think that you have a future in writing or in acting or on my couch. Dion Page says, hello, King Junkie, Jim, and all you junkies. Well, hello to you, Dion. Pleasure to have you here, man. Five door. God, your collection every time. It just cuts me to the quick. What was it? You just had something up yesterday, and you had a Smiths song to it, and I love the Smiths, and I was like, wow, man, Five Door must be about my age. I don't know, maybe not. He says greetings to me, Jim, and all you suckers. Not suckers. What am I saying? Junkies. Junkies is way better than suckers. No suckers here. I watched this guy, JD Delay. He's cool. You should look him up. He's an ex-convict, ex-addict who's now helping people, but he talks all about prison and other stuff. Diaper bandits, as he calls them, and wants to kill them all. And I appreciate that. But anyway, he's got a t-shirt that says "Sucker Free," or is that someone else? Anyway, you're not suckers. I misspoke. Cheeto Hauser, MD. Man, catch me if you can. Hello, Cheeto. Good to have you here. Sup, Bob and crew? Well, sup with you, Cheeto. Now that you're a doctor, you're a little bit more respectable. Just a little bit more respectable. Maybe you could hook me up. Stephen Clayton Jr. says, good evening, everyone. Stephen, great to have you here, sir. James Hart, everyone having a good week? I'm having a good week. How's your week going? 1025 EDC. Hello, everybody. Well, I put the hello in there. He says, hey, everybody. And I like that. That's familiar. Hey, it's good to have you here at 1025 EDC. Kraken Tactical. Always a pleasure, man. Good to see you. I got to meet him at Blade Show in Atlanta this year. Charming dude. And and such cool knives. Such cool knives. Go check out Kraken Tactical. He put out a modern Gununting a year or so ago. Man alive, that was beautiful. I'm sorry, Jim. Can you go back to his message, though? I didn't really see what he said. Hi, Bob. Hope you and all the viewers are doing well. Thank you, sir. I hope you right back at you. Matthew says, good evening, everyone. I think I already said this, but good evening to you, Matthew. Dion Page, is there a date on the Nova 2 King Junkie? I'm chomping at the bit to get that blade in hand. So end of next month. We're in November now, I think. You know what? I'll get in touch with Matt. We talk on a bi-weekly basis. I'll find out how he's doing on them. I know he ordered the steel, and I'm pretty sure he's having them water jetted as we speak. Well, maybe not as we speak, but these days, I think that's what's happening. I know he's received the steel. He gets it from New Jersey Steel Baron. Little shout out. A lot of great custom makers get from New Jersey Steel Baron. Will be nice to have you here, Will. Evening, Bob, Jim, and Junkies. Well, evening to you, sir. You look so much from your avatar. You look so much like the guy that I used to take Krav Maga from. Autumn Wind, nice to see you here, Autumn Wind. Hello, all, he says. Well, hello to you. Joseph S., good evening, Junkies, Bob, and Jim. Good evening, Joseph. Rick does seem like a tool in person. Yeah. A bit. Tree Stabbing Troy, nice to have you here, Tree Stabbing Troy. It's been a while. I must be a great because I'm a dick too. Nice. You know what? Driving around, that's my time to express myself because I live in a house where my speech is censored, not the content, but the actual words. So I can't just fly off the handle with hyphenated profanity, and that's probably for the better. So I do that in the car, and then when I do that, Tree Stabbing Troy, I always think, God, man, you're such a dick, and everyone thinks you're so nice. But I'm not when I'm driving in the DC area because people here, man. Split and Slices says, I'm glad you and Fawn made it out alive. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry for the window and unused, still sharp Skinner blade. Oh, yeah, right. No kidding. It was okay. So I was coming this way. There was a car coming towards me, and this Fawn, I guess, not being world wise, jumped in front of that car and then saw me and was like, oh my God. And he sprung. And my God, this little creature like got some serious air. The hood of my car is probably 4.5 feet off the ground. And he was just like, It was intense. I'm glad I just dropped my daughter off at school. So I'm glad she was not in the car because it also sprayed a fine dust of glass on that side of the car. Paul Mills, nice to have you here. Bob DeMarco. I like that. DeMarco. That's cool. If you're writing me a check, though, it's DE. No, I'm just kidding. It's very nice to see you, sir. Dion says, Rick is short for Richard. So is Dick. How about Prick Hinderer? Yeah. Yeah. I have an Uncle Dick. We always thought that was kind of a little bit funny, but, he's my uncle. I can't say anything. Adrian Fighter 35. Good to have you here, Adrian. Hello, Bob and Jim. Hello, fellow knife junkies. Dude, you got me laughing my butt off tonight. Open mic question. Does anyone else in the community wear boot knives or concealed knives? Oh, well, I wear concealed knives. Boot? No, but I'm interested in neck knives are concealed. I carry this quite a bit. The Primitive Wicket from Knives by Nuge. And then this, oh, wait, where is it? This, it's not this. This right here. I was carrying my Agent 001 today, right where I keep it. But I had, I came into work. Well, it doesn't matter. It's ice cold in my office. I had a sweater on. And then at some point, I don't know, I'm going through menopause. I got all hot. I took it off. And I'm strolling around for half the day with this knife on my belt. Not half the day, about an hour. But I saw plenty of people. No one said anything, and I didn't see anyone's eyes go down. And then I would have been aware of that. And then I saw it was there, and I took it off. But I was like, yikes. So not so concealed today, but usually this is concealed. I like to keep all my fixed blades kind of out of sight, except for what I was carrying today, EDCing. Ouchie EDC, nice to have you here. Howdy, he says, as he grabs his knee. Ed, hello there. Hello, Ed. How you doing, man? Hope you're doing fine this fine evening. I love it. I love this. And I'll tell you why in a second. Your avatar. Dixie Wrecked. Nice to have you here, Dixie. Just picked myself up a Spyderco Swayback. That's a beautiful knife for $200 at Blade HQ. Not that great, but for $200, what's your thoughts? I think it's a great looking knife, and I like that's a Martin Sleesh. Isn't that right? And that's a Sleesh knife. I like his designs. I really liked the look of that Swayback, and I also appreciate that it comes in a larger size. They didn't make it like a traditional slip joint size with that. So my thoughts are you got it for a steal, because when those came out, I think they were a bit north of 200, taking advantage of the momentum from the Sleesh Bowie. And the reason I like your avatar is this thing here. There was a guy on Ancient Aliens. I'm sure we're all familiar. And he was a Nostradamus expert. And they were asking him about something very, legit. And he had a hat. It looked like a green velvet chef's toque, just like on his head. And whenever he spoke, he held his hands up like this, as if he were speaking the truth from beyond. And so when I make a bold declaration around the house, I speak like this. I hold my hand up as if it's as if like God is animating me or something from beyond. OG Blade Review says, no worries about Hinderer. Rude is the new classy. Yeah, I like that. That's a good one. Rude is the new classy. Oh, I could say something, but I'm not gonna. Have a Knife Day says, the industry trend of just making existing designs smaller is not my idea of innovation. And X small now with Magna Cut. Yeah. Dollar. Yeah. I know that Magna Cut is, it had a premium price spike, but I'm not so sure anymore. I think it shouldn't be treated that way anymore. Jay Demeter, nice to have you here. What I mean by that is it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be like, oh, now that we have Magna Cut, it's going to be a lot more expensive. I know that things come with a price, but I also hear that that's a pretty nice steel to machine. It's not so hard on the belts and such. But I don't remember where I heard that, but I'm sure it was a reputable source on this show. So it's not like you're paying for extras for expendables, belts, etc. So yeah, let's just tone down the super steel a little bit. Aloha from Honolulu. Oh man, Jay, that's right. I forgot you live there, but aloha to you, sir. I would love to make my way out there. It's been well, I've never been there. I've been in the airport, and I'm told that doesn't count, but that's bologna sausage because I got off the airplane and I was standing on the ground. I wasn't floating in the ocean. I was in Hawaii. I just did not enjoy all that Hawaii has to offer. Bando picks. Nice to have you here, Bando. Oh, is Bando like is that like the kukri fighting art? Cool. What's up, everyone? He says, well, what's up with you, Bando? Let me know if that's what you're referring to in your name. Or if that's just your name. Because if so, it's a cool name because it means kukri knife fighting art in some language. James Hart says, winter has finally arrived where I live. Oh man, we have like an Indian summer here and we haven't even hit winter. It's been like hot and humid. Past 2 days, I've been like, ugh, just not feeling. I want it to be nice and cool. Cheeto Tree Stab and Troy says Cheeto Hauser MD is more respectable than Cheeto Feldman or Felchman. Donald Fry says, hey, Donald, how you doing, man? Howdy, Bob, Jim, and fellow junkies. Please don't bombard us with too much eye candy because I am so knife poor at the moment. I need either an intervention or another job. Donald, the grass is always greener on the other side, my man. Sometimes I feel like I would appreciate everything I have if I had less of it. And that might be true, but you know how hard it is for me to sell stuff off, especially when I have stuff like this. I'm going to show you this. And actually, Dave of OG Blade Reviews might be able to help me with this. I think it's from Sulawesi. My brother gave this to me. Michael Wharton, nice to have you here, Michael. What's up, y'all? He says, what's surprising to hear? Oh, that's surprising to hear about Hinderer. Usually easy to deal with for us. I'm not sure who us is. And I think a lot of our perspective tonight is if you walk up to him and you say, here's $500, I want to buy one, you're not, I'm sure he's awesome. But I think it's when people try to do anything like, they made their bones on knives that you can customize, and then other people try and customize them by making scales, and he throws the lawfare and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of leaves a sour taste in some people's mouths. But Michael, when you say us, what do you mean? Are you a dealer? Bando Pick says, I carry the Shivworks clinch pick. What a cool knife. What a cool knife. And that I don't have one is a freaking crime. I've abandoned shopping carts on that website a number of times. It seems like I always seek out a clinch pick when I don't have money to buy one. Isaiah Ramirez, nice to have you here, Isaiah, gentleman junkie. Saw a knife today on YouTube that reminded me of you earlier today. Well, thank you. Called the Stalker, 8-inch long, Warncliffe by Whistle. What's the point EDC? It's a boy's knife that reminded me of some of your big knives. It's a boy knife. Sorry. What's the point? I know I follow What's the Point EDC. Didn't do much in the way of looking at Instagram today. I've been working way too much. I mean, not like I work long hours, but at work, there's too much work happening. Just kidding. If you're watching, non-existent boss. Craig Vincent says, evening, Bob and Junkers. Craig, always a pleasure, my man. Good to have you here. Bando says, small fixed blades are in. I couldn't agree with you more, man. You want to see a cool small fixed blade before I show you this cool Sulawesi? I think it's a parang, I'll show that to you in a second. Bandowski is my name. Okay, that's cool. Bandowski. What kind of name is that? You're like, none of your business. Is that? I don't know. But it's a cool name. I'll have you know, in my opinion. Here's a cool little fixed blade knife. This is a prototype of something that Dirk Pinkerton, this is a Dirk Pinkerton prototype. It's made from, I think this is, I don't know what this is. Oh, this is S60V. Let me put it under here. S60V. And that is GL Hansen and Sons G Carta with the what do you call that pattern? Mexican blanket pattern. This thing melts into the hand. No, it's not mine. I will be sending this back to him, but damn, is it cool. I love this little fixed blade knife. And it comes with a sheath or this is the prototype sheath. We don't know what the concept sheath will look like exactly, but the whole point of this is to ride in the pocket. And I love that trend, the pocket riding trend. And today I was taking advantage of it, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this little beauty will also be in folder form. And Dirk sent me his design of that today, and it's very cool looking. Imagine this in a folder form. Also check in on Sunday. I had a great conversation with him last night. That's the third time he's come on the show, and man, I really like him as a person. He's an awesome dude. Polish name. That's what I was gonna say, but the E at the end threw me off. Yeah, great guy. Such a good designer. And that guy knows knife history and cultural knife. He knows knives across history and culture, and I really appreciate that. My father was adopted by a Polish family. Lots of great, not to keep bringing it back to knives, lots of great Polish knife makers and filmmakers. And Polish, I've mentioned this many times, to me is a beautiful language. I used to live in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, right next to Greenpoint, Brooklyn. And when you walk into Greenpoint, it's very, very Polish. At least it was when I was there in the early 2000s. And it always has been. But I always noticed, like, walking down the street thank you, Jim. Walking down the street in Greenpoint, like, the Polish guys were all like big, handsome, tough, strong looking dudes. And all the Polish ladies were just smoking hot until a certain age. So Polish, I like that culture a lot, and as much as I know about it, which is very little, but I like the markers I've seen. Krzysztof Kieslowski. So this is our random knife giveaway for the night. If you don't know this, Dave of OG Blade Reviews has rained his generosity all over this channel for years now. And he recently, a few months back, sent a giant box full of knives, and so easily could get integrated into my collection. But I have sequestered them over onto their own shelf, and I will be sharing the wealth over time. And we pretty much do a random knife giveaway pretty frequently, like if not every week, every other week for sure. And then once a month, we do the Gentleman Junkie knife giveaway with something a little bit elevated for those who are Gentleman Junkies, Patreon supporters. But speaking of elevated, this thing is beautiful, feels great in hand. That's 14C28N. And I know that according to Jared Neve, Tucson fell off for a little while. I know that this is before that period. And according to him also, I think they're back, or they might be back. You know, I think they had a real golden situation for a while, making titanium knives, exotic designs, and, you know, titanium frame locks and liner locks, and cool micarta, and budget blade steels to very fine blade steels, but really kind of kept it in an affordable realm, so you could get a knife in titanium with a great design and a great build for relatively inexpensive. You just had to wait a few weeks for it to ship from China. And this one, I think, is before. I don't know when this one was made, but here, let me show you this up close. So all you got to do is put hashtag knife in the comments, and I will send this off to you. If you win, we put it in a random number generator and roll the dice, and we see a deep carry pocket clip. What do you call this? Burlap micarta, pretty loose weave burlap micarta, but the lines are straight, which I appreciate. And a nice deep carry pocket clip, backspacer, and outstanding action. Yep. And those pointy terraced thumb studs we've come to know and love from Tucson. So please do me a favor. Please, I'm trying to get rid of, I hate to put it this way, but I'm trying to thin the herd. And I'm not even talking about my herd. I'm talk about that herd over there. And there are all these really cool knives, and they're like, well, look at me. I could fit easily right next to your other two sons and that kind of thing. So help me, help you, and you, please help me. Put hashtag knife in the comments. I would love to send this to you. I can't promise I'll send it tomorrow, because when I do, it takes a week. So I'll send it as soon as possible, but it's a free knife coming to you. So hashtag knife. And thank you, Dave. Thank you for all of these awesome knives. All right, let me show you this. My brother, man, he's given me so many cool things. And now that if I care to tally it up, I am way in his debt. I am way in his debt. I know he wouldn't see it that way, but I wish I could just settle that score and buy him like a Barrett 50 caliber and be like, there you go, Vic. Does that even the score? But he's not keeping score, but I kind of am. And he's got me so many cool things. And he was at we call them leather shows, but he was at a Pew Pew show recently. And there was a guy who's selling a whole bunch of what do you call it? The Southeast Asian weapons. And this one, from what I can tell, is from Sulawesi. I'm not even sure how you pronounce that. I know that they make good coffee, and that's about all I know. I think that's part of Indonesia. Am I right? I should have done my research. Dumbass. But really cool blade. It's wickedly sharp, man. For an old, this is an old knife. You've got this, I think this is a sculpted bone handle. It's cracked kind of like bone. And even though there's that big crack there, it's solid as can be in that handle. So some sort of primitive epoxy. I call it primitive because it's probably like some sort of something that, they burn. I know the Filipinos and the Indonesians and the Malaysians do a lot of burn-in tangs, where it's a stick tang. It's burnt in there also with epoxy or tar or something in there, and it all, gets real solid. Hit the like button if you liking the like button. I like that, Todd. Thank you. I like it. But this thing is cool, man. It moves nicely. It doesn't even accommodate my whole hand. I mean, you got to hold it like this, but and the only thing is that it doesn't have a point, and I just go on autopilot a lot of the time, and I often like to stab from these 7 and 8. I think they are. I've forgotten, or I don't know. You can correct me, Dave. What's that? Is that an 8 and a 9 or something? I can't remember now. But you don't spell it, son. You eat it. What's that from? If anyone knows, drop it in the comments. You don't spell it, son. You eat it. You're just not allowed to Google it. All right, because you can Google a movie line like that. So very cool knife. Thank you, Vito. I appreciate it greatly. And this is the sheath. Very cool. I love the shape, the throat here. It's really nice. It's old though. I almost pulled it out, but yeah, I got to be careful about this. This will go on the wall of fame behind me with the others. Really sweet. So, Dave, you know what this is? I'm pretty sure it's from Sulawesi, but what is it? Is it a golak? I think it's a golak. All of that said, and that was a lot, let us now get to a pocket check.
What's in his pocket? Let's find out. Here's the Knife Junkie with his pocket check of knives.
In my front right pocket today, I had the Fisher Blades Beckwith Covert in FDE, flat dark earth. This thing is a beauty. It's got dark green liners. It's got, as you can see, that tan G10 and that FDE Cerakote blade. Wickedly sharp. I have 3 of these now, all thanks to Fisher Blades. Thank you, guys. They sent me a unicorn a little while back. They sent me a trainer like a couple of weeks ago, and then they sent me this. And man, I'm very, very grateful. They're coming back on the show, actually. Chaz and his brother John. John has long been a knife maker up in Montana, and Chaz has long been a knife company executive. So together, they form Fisher Brothers, and man, that's a pretty well-equipped company when you have someone who's experienced in the in upper leadership at various knife companies, and then his brother who knows how to actually, make the knives. That's a great combo. Look at the colors are beautiful. Now, before this afternoon, I texted Chaz to let him know I was going to show this off and how excited I was and how wickedly sharp this thing is, and how no matter what he says, it's an EDC knife. It's great EDC knife, even though it's supposed to be for fighting. And he said, I told him I was going to do a scale swap and put black on this and the tan on my black one. And he said, you have to do it before the show because there's something hidden in there. But I didn't have time. So maybe at some point tonight, I'll go over and grab my Torx bit and take it apart, and we can see what they have hidden under there. But just a great pocket carry fixed blade. And there's the sheath with that extended DCC, that's discrete carry concepts clip. Let me see if you can see their little logo. You can't really see the logo, but it's basically the outline of a human man with like a view inside of him, and you can see his heart and a couple of arteries, which is menacing at very best. So today was a two-folder, two fixed blade day. My main folder today was as has been the usual for the past month, the Bionic Jack from Jack Wolf Knives, the fourth flipping locking Jack Wolf knife. There's the Benny, there's the Midnight Jack, or the After Hours Jack, they call that one, and then two versions of the Sharpshooter Jack. This is the one with the proprietary, the original pattern from Ben Belkin with the angles, very comfortable, incredible action. And though he's bound to secrecy by his OEM, and actually this is something that Dirk and I talk about in the interview on Sunday, how some OEMs are like, no, you can't tell anyone who makes these. And that's the case with the Jack Wolf Knives. I have my thoughts on that. But then when I think that, I think, well, I don't think they do that with other OEM situations. So I'm not sure who it is. But whoever makes these damn knives really does a great job. Today, this was the practical knife on me, and you'll see why. My next knife on me was the TKL Knives MR1. This is the Pikal, basically the Pikal version of the Night Stalker. So just look at this, the silhouette of this, and imagine the edge down here. And you have the Night Stalker. So this MR1 is a dedicated Pikal knife that comes right off the exact platform of the Night Stalker. And it's a great knife. This was designed for a Marine Raider unit, I guess Marine Raiders 1 on the West Coast. Someone can correct me if MR stands for something else, but I'm pretty sure it's Marine Raider. And I know that this was made for a special Marine group who needed them. Man, thank God for those guys. Wait, who was it? Eleanor Roosevelt, I think she's like, Marines are the most foul-mouthed, murderous bastards in the world. Thank God they're on our side, or something like that. Thank God for them, or something like that. And I couldn't agree more. I have a real soft spot in my heart for Marines, for all of our armed services. But I've known the most Marines, and then doing this show, man, I've met so many of our favorite knife makers are former Marines. So I had this on me. Thank God, didn't use it. But yeah, had this in the pocket, front right pocket. This rattling around in the left pocket, front left. This on my belt. Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, I went to work with this. This one I put on. Yeah, so I was wandering around with a bunch of. All right. Just in case anyone's watching from work, I'll stop right there. But I had a lot of fixed blade knives on me today, and then my ESK today was the really awesome Shieldin Knives Scythe XL in titanium. This is by DC Blades, designed by DC Blades. That's Tier 1 Gear Reviews, and I believe Old Squirrel Knives. Am I right in that? I'm pretty sure I'm right in that. But what a beautiful thing this is. You got that gear pattern jimping backspacer that stands proud from the beautifully contoured titanium all the way around. You got a what's that called? Filler tab there, a sculpted titanium pocket clip with the ball bearing, bag style, and a nice flipper. The only thing that this thing would benefit from is, and look at that. Oh my God. It is so freaking sharp. You got to be careful with the tip, but this thing is so wickedly sharp. We just got a new giant bag of dog food, and I like it wasn't even there. You know how the big dog food bags, they're pretty stout. This didn't think so. So there it is. That's what I was carrying on me today. 2 Picalls and 2 fixed blades, 2 folders, an unusual day. And then I guess I got to throw this in because this did some duty today too. So look at that lineup. I got to say, that's a handsome group of knives there. A gathering of eagles, if you will. All right, you guys tell me, what you guys have on you? Let me know. I want to know what you guys were carrying. Anyone carry a Tops Knives knife today? I'm just curious. No real reason except I busted out my Prather war buoy and thought, here, where is it? And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could just EDC this? This is one of my great sheaths. Some of my sheaths are shite and some of them are brilliant. This one happens to be brilliant. It's like I have nothing in the middle. It's either stellar and I could sell it for $1 million, or it's a piece of junk not worthy of human consideration. But this one, God, I love this Prather Warboy. So guys, tell me, was anyone carrying a Tops, or was anyone carrying a knife today? And if you were, what was that knife? You tell me. And while you do, I'm going to put these knives away so I don't drop them on their tips. This is a prime candidate for dropping on the tip because it would hurt. It would be painful to drop this one with that perfect, pristine, tiny little tip, drop it on the floor and see it snap. Maybe I shouldn't talk it into being. Maybe I should just keep my mouth shut about that. I can't keep my mouth shut for another hour and 10 minutes, and then I can shut up. Everyone will be happy. This right here, I want to show you on the Kovic, on the Fisher Blades Beckwith Covert. Right here on the sheath, there's a screw with a rubber ring in there, a gasket that you can tighten or loosen to alter the amount of retention that the sheath has. Beautiful in FDE. And this sort of green, it's so nice, that sort of green color in the handle. Do check that out. James Hart says, today I had to break down lots of Amazon boxes, so I used my Cold Steel Voyager Clip Point XL, did the job. James, that's awesome. That's a great knife for it. It's not a dedicated cardboard knife. My favorite cardboard knives, as you know, are the off-grid knives. But in our kitchen, we have in the drawer, we have a 6-inch not Tylite, 6-inch, what was that damn thing called? Luzon. So the inexpensive 6-inch Luzon, and I use that to cut up cardboard sometimes. And the blade is so big and it just zips through stuff. It's rather thrilling. Parang Pisau or small Golok, not 100% sure. Parang Pisau. I'll have to look that up. All right. Thank you. Not 100% sure. Yeah, I'm thinking Golok. And Dave, you might be able to correct me. I think that Golok is it's like irritable bowel syndrome. It could be anything. It's like a big catch-all term for a certain group of knives, because I've seen a lot of Goloks look very different from one another, but something that they all seem to have is no point. And what I mean is no actual tip point. Commies are horrible. Tell me how you really feel. And while you are, I will say I couldn't agree with your name more. Anyone using Wicked Edge, or what sharpeners do you recommend? I have not used the Wicked Edge. And I know the Wicked Edge is, I have a couple of knives that I've gotten from on the secondary market that people have sharpened on Wicked Edges, and they're great. They are great. Sometimes I think people overuse them, and you get it so sharp that it loses its toothiness. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. But I think that that's a great system. It's a pretty expensive one. Tomas Alas, I know, has done some videos on that. I love the Spyderco stones, just like their regular sharpening stones. I love the Spyderco Sharp Maker. Of course, that's, people will say you're not actually sharpening a knife. You're only honing it on that. But I would also say that I'm not so hardcore that I need to like remove steel too often from a knife. So that suits me just fine. But I'll tell you this, I love this work sharp. First of all, a lot of guys here, Dave, for instance, love the work sharp with the belt, like the work sharp gear. Sharpener designed by Ken Onion. So he knows what he's doing, Ken Onion. But this is really cool. This is from Work Sharp, but it's they call it a pocket sharpener, I think. So it's got a laser. It's got a diamond stone that's medium grit, and then a fine grit, and it also has angle guides. So as you approach the diamond stone, it gets it on a 20-degree angle. It says right there, 20. Let me see if I can see. And then it's also got 20-degree guide there, and then it's got a little tiny ceramic stone here for serrations, and then it's got this rotating stone here, so you can do coarse, fine, and fish hooks. And then here it's got a strop. So this thing is awesome. It's like $25, maybe 30 at most on Amazon. Oh, and then by the way, you pull this off, and there's other stuff in here that I keep forgetting to check out. I think this is an instruction manual, maybe, but this allows you to set your stones in there or your plates in there and use this differently. I just haven't investigated it, but if I unfurl that and check it out, I'm sure it'll tell me all that I'm missing out on. But this is a great, just kind of in a pinch sharpener, and not even in a pinch. I bring this to the kitchen all the time and sharpen my knives with it. Isaiah Ramirez says, today I had the E1 multi-tool. Oh, scissors instead of pliers. That's cool. That's the emergency medical scissors that fold from Leatherman, right? And my El Burro by CNC with my 3D jack-o'-lantern Nux. Oh, cool. And 3D printables. I'm not sure what all these things are, but I'm psyched. I just dropped them. That was the thing that made the noise before. Excuse me for this, but I have these 3D printed Nux right here by Delicious Fist, and they're so cool. Delicious Fist is the brother of Copus Design Blade Works, or Copus Design Works. These things are awesome. I have the brass versions. They are really cool. But I like your carry, sir. Split and Slices says PTK. Oh, what is that? Oh, Pocket Check. Jeez, I'm such a Pocket Check. PMP Spartan XL. OGK All Day Necker. Off-Grid Knives All Day Necker. Cattleman's Cutlery Trapper. All sound cool, but what's the PMP Spartan? PMP Spartan. I'm trying to remember what PMP is. All right. I got a little notification from Jim a few minutes ago to say that there are 60 watching and only 33 entries. That's a little bit over half. And really, all you got to do is put #knife, and you can have a free Tucson. And I send it to you, and you say, it's not my style. So you give it to your cousin for Christmas, or you sell it, or I don't think you should sell it. You can, but it's such a cool knife. Look at that swedge. Come on, #knife in the comments. Make it harder for everyone else to win it, even if you don't want it. No, but seriously, do it now. And then when you win, send me your address, and I send this to you. I'll do it tomorrow, I promise. No, I don't. Todd Carr says, stay away from Wicked Edge. Much better systems on the market, depending on your budget. Todd, do tell, sir. Do tell. Why do you say that? I'm curious. OG Blade Review says, today's carry. Ooh, this is going to be good. Tenable Raphael. Tenable. What is that? Rafe L. Heretic Pariah Mini. Ooh, that is a sweet one. And that was a very generous gift, I think, from one of your viewers or something. How cool, man. The Nova one. The Best Tech Classic. The ProTech Response 4. I'm sorry. Best Tech Classic. Came out the same week as what was the other one? Well, anyway, ProTech Response 4, so cool. That's the ProTech TR4, but with the button lock instead of the switchblade. Pinkerton Fire Ant, excellent choice. Orion Aries, as I was just showing you, and the Nightcore EDC 23. Damn, this man has great taste in knives. If you don't follow OG Blade Reviews, I'm sure you do, but if you don't, go check him out. You will love. If you think I have cool knives, you will think he has very cool knives. Paul Mills says, I had a 3-knife day. Here, sir. Mini FSD. Okay. Aries EDC Bloom and the American Blade Works slip joint. Okay, I have that one. I love that. The American Blade Works slip joint. I don't know the Aries EDC Bloom, however. Isaiah Ramirez says the Gentleman Junkie should have a section on Patreon for random pocket checks. I like that. Maybe not just for Gentleman Junkies, but since a vanishingly small amount of our patrons are not Gentleman Junkies, and I love them too. But yeah, I think if we had it for everyone, that'd be cool too. Commies Are Horrible says, not sure, might just pay someone to sharpen my blades. There's that too. Commies, do you have a lot of are they dull blades and you need to go to time? I'm a Marine, says Bando. Here, sir. Thank you for your service. And thank you for being what do they say? A goddamn son of a bitch? Or I'm still thinking of something else. That is not an insult to you, Bando. It's something I heard. But I think Marines are the best. And, well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Stephen Clayton Jr. says, Rem Alliance, Scourge, TKL Knives, Agent 001. Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of a song. Agent 001 and 03, or through 03, the Raider, the Taylor's Ridge, the Combatant, the Piranha, the TS-87, the FLN, the Guardian, the Night Guard 2.0, the Night Stalker Combat Grade, the Accomplice, the Gideon V3. That's a cool one I'd love to have. I mean, they're all cool. The Striker and the Micro and the Wingard Wearables Micro Dick Pic. Stephen Clayton Jr. He's a Navy man, right? Maybe as is evidenced by the pretty buff looking Popeye there. By the way, Stephen Clayton Jr. I've met in person at Blade Show, and he actually does carry all those TKL knives, and he does it with swagger, and also he's very low key about it. You wouldn't know he had 15 fixed blades on him when you see him. Bando says carrying an Essie Pacaya with Oak City leather sheath. Oak City leather, I've seen their sheaths. I've seen their work. It's beautiful. Them and I like Chattanooga Leatherworks too. Cold Steel 8010 today for for Commies Are Horrible. And he got what's the frog? What was his name again? Now I don't remember. That was 2016. Who can remember that far back? Adrian Fighter 35 says pocket check. Cold Steel Clip Point XL. Excellent. I'm assuming that's the Voyager. Double Agent 2 with the serrated edge. Light carry today. Yeah, right. Light carry unless you're the other guy. A brutal kitty. I love that. Kitty with a giant mane. TKL Guardian, boy, the best. The Guardian. Yeah, I like the Guardian. It is, yeah. It's a little heavy. I know that sounds totally wimpy. I don't mean it like that. It's not too heavy for me to lift. But last time I busted it out, I'm like, I forgot how, it's a beefy knife because of the oblique edge. And I love that edge. It's like it's kind of like a really oblique Scandi edge, but it goes all around the three edges. So cool. And that's not necessarily for slicing. It's for splitting, stabbing, hacking, gouging, tearing, all that horrible stuff. Crew wear is the best, says, by the way, crew wear, Nice to have you here, sir. SPK Lamia in Van Ax. Oh, well, we have an aristocrat. I'm that's just envy. It's not envy. I want you to have one, but I want one too. It's jealousy speaking, man. That sounds awesome. I have a Crewware from him, from Alex Steingraber. I have the Shark in Crewware. It's my only Crewware knife, and it's also my only Alex Steingraber, and it's such a great knife. And I got to say, the Lamia is so beautiful. It is a beautiful knife. So, well, congratulations for having one, sir. Kevin Smith and Knives. Good to have you here, Kevin Smith. Vero Full Tie Axon and the TRM Neutron. Ooh, that's a nice carry. That's a nice carry. I love that Neutron. I mean, I don't have it, but I like all the TRM knives. Only have one. No, yeah, I only have one. But I have a bunch of scales. So it feels like I have more than one. Have a Knife Day says, Benchmade Adamas with the last flavor of Super Steel, a.k.a. Crewware. Crewware so old and lame. Can't cut anything. Todd Carr says, commies are horrible at around $250. The Work Sharp Precision Adjust Professional is a good system that includes everything you need. Yeah, I would go for Work Sharp, I got to say. Only because of Ken Onion's involvement, I guess. And then also all the accolades it's gotten from people I trust. Above that, go with the TS Prof, TS Professional. What's TS? TS Professional for higher quality and price as well. Okay. What does TS stand for? Is that just what it's called? TS Prof. Kami says, thanks for the recommendations. See, that's what we're here for. A free flow of information, man. John, the engineer, nice to have you here. Where would we be without engineers? John, I thank you for what you do because engineers make everything possible of one sort or another. I have four really great engineers at work that have saved my bacon a good number of times. Oholone, I've seen it written out, and I don't think I've ever heard it pronounced. Olone or Olone, or how do you pronounce that? John, send me another comment with the phonetics of Olone Goat AXL. So when I see that word that I can't pronounce, that name that I can't pronounce right there, images from the Instagram pop up, and they are really beautiful custom knives, folding knives. But John, let me know how you pronounce that, or how you pronounce it. Mike Brandon Alma Lewis, nice to have you here, Mike. Medford Scout in the pocket, T-Kel Gideon V3 in the waistband. Oh, second Gideon tonight. That is such a cool knife. So if you don't know what the Gideon is, it looks like it looks vaguely like the Night Stalker or the MR1. Of course, it's sharpened on the traditional edge, but it's a little bit longer. It's from Frogman Tactical. It's a collaboration, and it's got a beautiful little sharpened zero ground swedge on the back. So cool. That's one I would definitely like to have, but I'd definitely like to have a lot. Tree Stab and Troy says, pardon me, guys. Carried my Tucson 380 Kubi Dust Devil. I don't know that one. Copper Olite I5T and my Forest Hank. Very nice. Forest Hank, I think they just celebrated 10 years. Is that right? And Tucson 380. I wish that Tucson would use a different naming convention, because I can't keep the numbers straight, and they don't seem, and correct me if I'm wrong, they don't seem to be sequential. So it doesn't, like, the most recent knife doesn't necessarily have the highest number. Am I right? I'm pretty sure I am. Nick Bonomo. Good to have you here, Nick. Bonomo. Paisan. Nick says, appendix carry, T-Kel Raider. Nice. That's nice. That's the clip point, right? Back pocket carry, Hinderer Eclipse 3.5-inch Warncliffe. Fifth carry pocket, Peachy G9 titanium utility blade holder. Oh, okay. That's cool. I don't have any of those little fancy utility blade holders. but I think they're cool. And I like that some companies are making folding versions of them. Bando says, just got one of those Viking next. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. But I want a work sharp field sharpener. Well, the Viking next stone is cool, but I don't think that's your main thing. I think that's isn't that for also throwing sparks? Sharpening and throwing spark. That's more to just like have in a pinch. You get lost in the woods or something like that, but that's not going to be your main sharpener. So have that on you and then get the work sharp. Todd Carr says, with any stones these days, go with diamonds. Adorable, and work with any steel. Adorable. That's weird. And work with any steel out there, from budget to super high HRC. Sorry, guys. What's adorable about about diamond stones? Are they really small? Do they meow when you pet them? No, I'm just kidding. I'm curious what you mean by adorable, because I call knives cute a lot. Like, for instance, I find this 310 forged knife adorable and incredible. This is a great carver. It's called the Scalper. Really, really, really nice knife. But anyway, adorable knife. James Hart says, I use the Ken Onion Work Sharp Deluxe, and I have a belt grinder attachment. I also have the pocket sharpener. I want to get that pocket sharpener, not this one, but there's one that folds, that's even smaller, and it has a little clip, so you could put it in your pocket next to your peds. And it looks really great, but I haven't been able to find it. I saw Jared Neve again talking about it on his channel, and I haven't been able to find it. Not that I've searched high and low, but I did look on Amazon. Okay. Yeah. All right. Lame-o. That's why. But they didn't have it. Heaven. Well, I hope to see you someday, but not very soon. Very good to have you here, sir. Have you tried the Sharple stone? No, I haven't. I have not even heard of it. But admittedly, I don't look too much into it. I was gifted a really nice Spyderco stone, yes, by my brother years ago, but man alive, it works great. I've been using that one a lot. But I do want to get a legit stone that you just kind of like, and it has two sides and locks to the table and it is a slow. I definitely want to get a large stone like that. Todd Carr, affordable, not adorable. Stupid autocorrect. Okay. But I'm sure it's adorable too. But yeah, affordable. Do those diamond stones dull out? So, okay, I've noticed with my Spyderco Sharp Maker diamond stones, because you can when you buy the Sharp Maker, it comes with medium and fine and stones, which are the triangle, long, thin triangle stones. And if you want, they're not actually stone, they're ceramic. But if you want, you can get an extra fine ceramic aftermarket, which I've gotten. And then you can go on the other side of things for the coarse and get diamond stones. And I have noticed that I tend to use the same, since it's a triangle, it's got three sides, obviously. I tend to use the same angle and the same sides. And I've noticed that you can, I guess, some of that diamond material comes off, but I would not say dull out. Actually, a very good example of that is on this knife here. This is a I'm totally having a blank here. Holtzman's, sorry. Holtzman's Baby Silverback. It's a cool little survival knife I've shown you. But this has a diamond sharpener right here. And one side of it, and maybe this is on purpose, actually, one side feels like it's been, the diamond part has been scraped off, and then it gets progressively more coarse. The only reason I think that's not deliberate is that it's mounted a little funky in here. So I'm not sure how much is deliberate and how much is accidental, but I do know that you can, over time, just like with anything else, scrape off or wear down the abrasive surface of the diamond stone. Work Sharp, says Dave. Work Sharp Professional Precision Adjust is my go-to for excellent precision edges. And the field sharpener that you're showing is great for all my touch-ups. Awesome. Yeah. So, and I can attest to that. I've gotten some really, really sharp knives from Dave, where you can tell he was like going to town and, really just goal razor sharpness. Pete Davidson says, I have been struggling lately with what to do with a sprawling collection. I know. I have only so much room for display. I have my preferred users. I just can't decide what I can let go and what to show off. I kind of know the feeling, except for me, if I'm not looking at them or holding them, I know exactly which ones to get rid of. And then when I open the drawer and I see them, I'm like, oh, but they're so cool. And I pick them up. Oh, but they're great. But I have, so check out Northern Knives. Oh, yeah, I think he was on here, and I don't think I said hi to him. Check out Northern Knives. They have an exchange program, a great page where people send in. It's not a page, it's like 10 pages of really sweet knives, all pre-owned, like they say over at BMW instead of used, all pre-owned knives, and everything from, like a Civivi to a expensive custom Emerson and everything in between. So if you can get together, if you can actually part with some of the knives, you can actually trade them in over at Northern Knives and get the knife of your dreams. Now, I don't know what the exact details are here. You would have to talk to Northern Knives, but I know that they are. I know that that's my plan. At some point, I want to do that. It's just, who has the time? Michael Upchurch, nice to have you here, Michael. I just put shredded carbon fiber Feist in my pocket. The Feist is a cool knife. That's the Jason Lundquist. Is his first name Jason? It's the Lundquist knife. But yeah, shredded carbon fiber. That was one of the earliest carbon fibers that got me to prick up my ears and say, okay, carbon fiber isn't all that lame basket weave stuff that's there just to be light and strong. There's some that can actually look good. Here's one that I think looks really good. But this kind of carbon fiber, I dig. So the shredded on your Feist, yeah, I'm with you. Will be Olamic Soloist, a very cool knife. Protec Mordax. The Microtech Amphibian, possibly my favorite folder, or one of them. Spyderco PM2, Microtech Hera 2, Spartan Blades Frike. Not sure which one that is. Don't they have a Shrike also? Frike. That's probably, or maybe it's Frike. It's some like Greek god or something. Who knows? Heretic Slight, Olite Baton 3, and Heretic Thoth Pen. I know I make fun of the word Thoth, and someone, I think Will, actually straightened me out about what that is. Now I don't remember. But Frike, what the hell is a Frike? Or is it Frike? And I was right. Craig Vincent says, I carried my new Natchez Bowie. You carried it? That's cool. That's not a shrinking violet there. My limited edition Thai 8010, XL Voyager drop point, Frenzy 2, Kiridashi, nice. Slockmaster? I don't know that one. Oh, is that the Twist Master? The locking twisting? Mini Pendleton Hunter QSP Hedgehog, nice. Played with my barong machete out in the yard. Very nice. Let me ask you about the barong machete. Do you have I have a Cold Steel barong machete, but it's an early one. It's before they created the sculpted plastic handle that looks a lot like this. The barong machete that I have from Cold Steel is the first one, and it's got a more South American style handle, like the regular machete handle, if you will. The relatively neutral with that little tab that comes down here. I always kind of wanted to get the new one with the more authentic styled handle, but I just never have. Have a Knife Day says, I have some out of carry knives that I donate to various veteran organizations or to the random veteran that I happen upon in my travels. That is cool. I like that. So I do that not with random veterans, but that would be cool too. But I do that with people at work. I've given almost everyone that I've worked with or who has worked for me a knife, because I work with different cameramen and different like engineers I told you about, and they all help me out of a bind, and from time to time, or all the time, or it's just nice to collaborate creatively with them. and it's nice to give them a knife. And most people, I would say 35 to 40% of the people I've given knives to, and let's say over the years, it's been about 20 people maybe, carry them that I see. A lot of those people have left, gone to different jobs and stuff, but I still see, as a matter of fact, a buddy of mine today was cutting I don't remember what he cut, but it was a Tucson, is a 3/6 leaf, and the D2 got really weirdly colored. It was blasted, so I think that might have had something to do with it. Anyway, my point is, I like this idea, Michael's idea of donating knives. You have a bunch of knives to get rid of. That's another thing. Shane Gables, he's edgy American. He's given away, he gave away like $5,000 worth of knives over when he sort of rebuked Chinese knives. Pete Davidson says, I managed to offload some Indonesian-made karambits and a Filipino-made tanto to a young martial artist at work. I wish I knew more people interested in knives so I could do more hand-me-downs. Hey, Pete, there are some people who might just be like knife ready or knife adjacent and ready to go. So maybe you could get that out of them. Maybe they're not interested in knives until you suggest it. James Hart says those slots under the sharpening blade of the Work Sharp pocket sharpener are so you can put, oh, that's what it is. Right. Thank you. An arrowhead. That's right. It's got, that's right. James, I think you may have set me straight on that in the past. Look, I'll show you. So you can put broadheads in here. In these two things. And what about these? What are these for? Square and a triangle. Not sure. Or maybe you can put them tip down. Like maybe this has a triangular tip because it's got 3 blades, and this has a square tip because it's got 4. And if you want to rest it in that way, maybe that's what that's for. Maybe if I opened up the instructions, I'd know, but it's kind of endemic to the men in my family, We can fall asleep easily, and we don't read directions. 5 Door says, today was Medford Mini Marauder. Cool knife. Princeton Protean. Very nice knife. See, 5 Door, man. His collection is not only cool, but it's like, he's got some deep cuts. And A. Wright and Sons Lambfoot. I've never even heard of A. Wright and Sons. That's how deep 5 Door's collection goes. Nicely done, sir. Roman M. Nice to see you here, Roman. Carried a Rosie's. That's a Roosevelt XL. And American Blade Works Slippy. I love that Slippy. Oh, man. Why am I having this brain fart? It's because I thought you'll forget the name as soon as you say it. And that's what happened. Tell me who made the Roosevelt again. Who made the damn Roosevelt? Who makes it? I've shown it here before. It was on loan. Such a nice knife. All right, someone will tell me. One-man show out of the Midwest of the United States. Have a Knife Day says, Have a Knife Day is an airborne infantryman, or was. Also was a also was a technician that supported the MLRS system. That's a missile system, right? Isn't that a like a short-range anti-aircraft missile system? Multiple launch rocket system. Okay. Oh, yes. You see cool. I used to edit a show called Firepower for a military channel back when Discovery was cool and they had a military channel. And I remember the MLRS. It's like an artillery. It's part of the artillery, right? It's that kind of rocket. So it sits on these beds, flat beds, and there are these big square batteries that look like Patriot missiles, kind of. They just fire off these artillery rockets. Am I right? Have a Knife Day. And I had so many cool video clips of numerous MLRS in rows, just firing off rockets. Very cool. Very cool. Have a Knife Day. He's a cool dude. And yeah, you'd know it from looking at him. He's not someone to trifle with, though he's very nice and would probably give you a long leash. When that leash is up, you're going to be twisted into a pretzel. An American Father. Nice to have you here, sir. I think we have a number of American fathers here, and I like your name and I like your dog. Sometime in the next 4 years would be a great time for a man with influence in the knife world to make a push to bring the manufacturing of budget knives back to America. Just saying. An American father? Noted, sir. Indeed. And welcome, American father. I don't think I've ever seen you here, so it's really good to have you here. Commies are horrible. Pepe the Frog. Yes, Pepe the Frog. Thank you. Man, so many people just went around the bend about that frog. Tree stabbing Troy, Kermit the Frog. There's Kermit too. So Jordan Peterson, aka Jordan Peterson. Pete Davidson says there is old footage of an assassination in the Philippines on TV by a man armed with a Kolak. Jeez. His first strike was a thrust to the chest. If memory serves me right, he followed up with some chops. I mean, because with a Golok, like that's all I think of are chops, because many of them don't have points. That is brutal and terrifying. There's a very famous picture of a Japanese assassination. I think it was in the 50s or 60s. And it's a student killing a politician, I think. But he's got the famous picture. You can Google this right now. The picture is the student. It's on a stage. It's like the guy jumped up on stage, and he's got it looks like maybe a wakizashi or some sort of long, slender blade. And he's got it with two hands, reverse grip here, forward grip here. And he's about to slam it home. It's an incredible photograph, like an incredibly timed photograph, but also just brutal to look at. James Hart says, I have the Condor tool and knife Golok machete. No point, but it could still stab. Oh, okay. All right, cool. All right. I think we need to give this thing away in a minute, because I don't want to lose anyone who's here to sleep and everything like that. And then people don't send me their address, and then I have to get back at you. And every once in a while, it hasn't happened in a long time, actually. I know, like, Jay won a knife not too long ago, Mr. Demeter, and I missed his emails. One of them went to my trash, and then I just missed it. I think his son may have sent an email. And then I caught up with him and I got it to him. But ordinarily, it's within a week. So please, #knife, because we are going to do this in 5 seconds. Todd Carr says TS Prof is their company name. High precision sharpeners with great machining on them. One of the best you can buy. One of the best you can get, but you pay a premium for them, for guided systems, that is. Okay. All right. Todd, thank you for that info. And Kami, check out the TS. It looks like it's a good one, because Todd Carr is a trusted voice. All right, so here we have the TS, not going to lie, I forgot, 334 in 14C28N, and burlap micarta with bearings, amazing action, a great flipping action, beautiful long swedge on this knife, and those sort of proprietary Tucson thumb studs. Great knife. This could be in your pocket for the low price of typing #knife in the next 3, 2, 1. Let's bring that up, Jim. I almost called you James. Let's bring up the there it goes. All right. We're going to do this in another 3, 2, and 1. All right, spin it. Thank you, sir. Who will be the lucky one? And who will be outside looking in? Chad Ensminger. Chad Ensminger, congratulations, my man. Chad, this is yours. Chad Ensminger. So I'm going to remember, it was about an hour and a half into the show, because usually the next day I have to go back. Who won it again? Chaz Ensminger. I don't recognize your name, but I'm so glad to have you here, and I'm so happy you won this knife, man. So send me an email to TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com. Couldn't be easier. TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com, and let me know your mailing address, and I will get this out to you post haste. Every night I'm like, I think my day is light tomorrow, so I'll be able to do all this stuff, and then it never is. But hopefully I'll get this out to you on the morrow. So send me your address, sir, Chad. Thank you. And thank you, one and all, for participating in this random knife giveaway. Tune in again for another one, most likely next week, so that I can wend my way through this incredible collection of knives that Dave sent me. I think like sometimes the giveaway thing is perceived as a what do you call it? Well, a way to bring people into the channel. Oh yeah, you're gaining all these people. You're giving all this stuff away. That's not my case. In my case, that would be a nice side. I will admit that would be a nice side effect. But to me, it's like I have more than enough in my own personal collection, and so to have more. And don't get me wrong, Dave. I'm not saying that that's a problem. I absolutely love it, but I also just love giving it away and sharing the wealth. And he sent me some super cool knives. If you're interested in seeing what those are, you can just go to the Knife Junkie channel and type in OG Blade Reviews Haul, and you'll see he sent me 27 or 24 knives or something like that, and they're all cool. And I'm adopting one of them, and it will happen. Pete Davidson says, before he was gunned down by police, the footage was in black and white and very confronting. My point is, don't underestimate a blunt tip. Yes, with enough conviction penetration as possible. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that. Definitely would agree with you on that. Even something like this on the right, because it, like I said, this thing is very sharp for an old and, probably something that was used. It's pretty damn sharp. And it's not, I have a number of antique knives that have obviously been sharpened after the fact by a collector somewhere along the line. This has not. It's just a zero ground edge. It's like an apple seed edge, and it's freaking sharp. So if you hit someone with that, if you hit it like this, yeah, you could get that inside. And then, and it's not a very big, it's not a very broad blade to get inside. And then it would just continue to open up because you're not going to push it in perfectly straight. You're going to have some. So yeah, exactly. Don't underestimate. And the same thing goes for back cuts. I love that. I'm sorry, I missed James's comment. Bring that back if you don't mind. I love a double-edged blade for this kind of thing. But if you don't have that double edge, that tip is still going to gouge. I mean, geez, I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, it's gonna do a little damage if you actually put some gusto behind it. I put a little too much gusto, but I didn't bleed. I'm not bleeding. Toyotas and Tools. Nice to have you here, sir. Just busted out my Spyderco sub hilt. Oh, that's cool. Who made that? Who designed that? On the tip of my tongue. Get it before they're all gone. It is on the disco list. Wait a sec. The sub hilt that was brought back. And who designed that? French dude, right? Or he's got a French name. I don't know why I want to know that, but it'll bother me. James says they don't wear out, but they do load up. Okay, so you have all right. So you have to clean your diamond stones and plates with a brush and dish soap. You can clean ceramic rods also. So I have it's over there. But I have the little Lansky puck. It's got a coarse and a medium, and it's definitely used for like machetes and axes more. But yeah, I'm always using a wire brush to clean out, because you are removing small, tiny pieces of steel, and they do clog up the pores that make the abrasive surface on your stone. So you want to scrub that out. That's also why you use water or oil to keep it suspended and to keep it to make it easier to wash off. Chris 229, nice to have you here, Chris. Evening, everyone. He says, evening to you. I like your avatar. Reminds me of the angles in Kempo karate. They have a symbol that's like that, and it represents their angles, and they're all of our angles. But anyway, I like it. Toyotas and Tools says, Ankata had it for $265 on Amazon. Ankata had it. I'm not sure what Ankata is, or which knife you're talking about. Pete Davidson, love that Prather. Just wish the blade was a little longer and had a sharpened clip. I wish it had a sharpened clip. I don't need it any longer. But yeah, with a sharpened clip, this thing would be even wickeder. But it's not. It's a pretty pretty stout swedge. Have I lost my knife cam? Okay, a pretty stout swedge. Every once in a while, my knife cam will run out of juice, and I was wondering. But you see that right there? That's not going to chew up your baton. But then again, you're not using this to baton, so why not at least thin the swedge out a little bit? And I'm not here criticizing the Prather war buoy, though I have heard that Jeff Prather is someone worthy of criticizing. Justin Lundquist. Yeah, what did I say? Ricky? Johnny Lundquist? Yeah, Johnny from around the way. Johnny Lundquist. Thank you, Justin Lundquist. Paul Mills says 5-door. Have you noticed Bob's watch? Baller Pepsi Rolex. That's not a Rolex, bro. Bruh. It's not a Rolex. It's a Casio. It's a $60 watch, but I love it, man. But I would love to have a Rolex. I would. I was just thinking today how cool it would be to have a Rolex, but then I was like, yeah, it's a very, 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 very expensive watch. Over under pull. Nice to have you here, over under. Appreciate your channel and sharing your enthusiasm about the blade. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate your appreciating it. It's always good to have like-minded people around. And well, in that case, I'll bust out more knives. Pete Davidson says, good quality diamond stones and leather strops have been a game changer for me. Yeah, leather strops for sure. So many wasted bucks on stones and machines in search of the perfect edge. This is a knife that Dave of OG Blade Reviews gave me for my birthday in August. And it's made by Traditional Filipino Weapons. Ron Kazakowski, who's he's a Jeet Kune Do and Kali master out of Connecticut, has this company, Traditional Filipino Weapons, and he employs a bunch of smiths in the Philippines that kind of lay low. I think they have to lay low down there, but they make these freaking amazing weapons. I have 2 of their things here, the Gununting and the Talibang. Those are awesome. And I have the Espada y Daga set over there. The good one. I mean, they made 2 Espada y Dagas and sets, and they're both cool, but one of them is even cooler. And then they started making weapons from other cultures. This, of course, is from Nepal, and it has a couple of little differences, but it's basically exactly like a Nepalese kukri. And wait, I just contradicted myself, but you get what I'm saying. And they also do other, like some European swords, a Japanese sword, and I love their stuff. And this thing is so wicked. Again, thank you, Dave. Thank you. Will B says the Frike is a thin 4.25 inch -10 with a harpoon. Oh, yes. Frike was the Greek goddess associated with horror and fear. You know what's cool is in the Iliad. If you haven't read the Iliad, I don't mean, if you haven't read all the classics, but the Iliad and the Odyssey are so definitely worth, and everyone here will love those books or poems. I guess they're epic poems. And you can, if you get the Stephen Lombardo translations of both of those, they have modern photographs on them. The Iliad is a picture of from the landing at Omaha Beach. And, so what that is basically saying is this is somewhat a modern translation of this classic story of the Trojan War. So good. It's so good. And then the Odyssey has a picture of the Earthrise from moon. So like Odysseus just trying to get home, but he's so far. It's so great. They're both really great translations. I'm not like some reader of classics, but these are very readable and they're so good. The stories are so good, and the Iliad is just brutal. It's so brutal. But a cool thing is the gods are very much involved. The Greek gods are very much involved in both stories. But in the Iliad, some of the gods are on the side of Troy and fighting, bickering with their other family members who are on the side of the Greeks. And there are these minor gods like Frike, I would imagine, and swift-footed Rumor. I think that's really cool. Swift-footed Rumor runs through camp, spreading rumors of war, or rumors about the war, and misdirecting people. And it's just like these little tormenting. They're less like gods; they're more like little tormenting demons who create trouble. And I don't know. I just think it's so cool. The deification or whatever of those kind of qualities. So cool. They're great books. Don't be turned off by the fact that they're 5,000 years old. They're fucking cool. Pete Davidson says, I have a couple of fixed angled systems and they all work fine as long as you use the diamond and ceramic with a strop afterwards. Yeah. And I would say, don't over sharpen. I mean, you can go, if you're looking for that polished edge, I get it. That's kind of seems like that ship has sailed a lot. I don't see too many people gloating about their polished edges anymore because I think people over polish them. I know that for a while I was over stropping and kind of removing all the toothiness of everything I had. So they were technically very, very sharp, but they didn't have enough to bite in. So you'd almost like skate across anything that gave any resistance. So yeah, that's it. Craig Vincent says the barong is made in South Africa. I think all of their machetes are. The handle has is like a bird's beak and very comfortable and balanced. Yeah, so that you have the traditional one. The traditional one, which is the second release. Yeah, they don't make the one that I have anymore with the run of the mill sort of machete handle. Have a Knife Day says the MLRS is also known as the HIMARS and is being used in Ukraine. Depending on the ordnance, it can destroy an entire grid square on the map. Jeez, man. Hardcore History. It's a great history podcast, and he did his name is Carlin, something Carlin. No, I don't remember, but the guy who does that podcast did a real long one on World War I. It's like many different episodes, and each episode is long and it's so worth the listen. I didn't know a damn thing about World War I, and now I kind of can't remember much about it, but I do remember them talking about how they just with artillery, they were just pounding every grid on every grid square is what you called it, I think, on their map, and they would just progressively move up the battlefield. Oh my God, what a brutal conflict. I know they're all brutal, but that one works on my imagination because of all that trench fighting and all of that artillery. The meat grinder, they called it a meat grinder, right? Have a Knife Day says at least the new evolution is called HIMARS. I know that we sold THELs, the terminal high velocity, whatever the THEL is, what is THAAD, terminal high altitude, whatever, two Ds destruction device. It's not that, but I know that we make very few of those, and I know that we should have them all here at our disposal, but I know we've sent some overseas to other people. Same with the standard, the SN missile that rides around on all these destroyers and cruisers, and they shoot 2 or 3 at a time at one missile, and they're like millions of dollars per missile, and they are rare. They don't make that many of them, and we're selling them to other countries. We should keep them here. Bob's Pocket Knives. Nice to have you here, Bob. Good evening, Knife Brothers, he says. Clink, smile, and yes, good to have you here, man. Pete says, today's carry is the Police in K390. I love that. With carbon fiber and titanium bits. Carambited Warncliffe Delica. I like that. So you turned karambit into a verb, and I approve. Carambited Warncliffe Delica in K390. Victorinox something or other. And Chad says, wow, thank you. I never win anything. Well, Chad, your luck is changing, sir. This will come right to you. Chad, don't forget, send me your address, TheKnifeJunkie@gmail.com, sir. And Jim, can you go back to, I just want to finish that comment, and then I'll come right back to Isaiah, because he was about to mention something else, and I think I wanted to Carambited Warncliffe and K390, Victorinox Swiss Tool, Spirit X, and a 6-inch Zytel tie light flapping around in my offside pocket. That's been one of my favorites. I've been carrying mine a lot. Okay, thank you, Jim. Isaiah says, thanks, OG Blades, for giving Bob the knives. Yes, thank you so much, Dave, for your generosity. It allows me to be generous, makes me look like a big man. Look at me giving out all these knives. But really, it's Dave who's giving them to me. Toyota and Tools says Smoky Mountain Knife Works and PVK have custom double action auto versions of them in stock. Of what in stock? And before you go, I'm going to be on the PVK podcast next week. Next Tuesday night, I believe. I'm very excited about that. Should be cool. I've never met them. They reached out to me, and I just follow them on Instagram and know they sell some really cool knives. They're out there in Vegas. I guess maybe that's what the V stands for. Or not. I don't know. Reverend Jim, nice to have you here. Reverend Jim Lander. Good evening, junkies. Life is good if it is sharp. I agree. Yeah, it just in general, it's good. It's good. Sometimes, even when it's bad, if you're 6 feet above and not under, it's good. Northern Knives says, I always carry a Lansky puck in my pack. Mineral oil works good to clean them. So Northern Knives, Mike, someone was talking about Pete, I think, was saying he's just got so many knives. What can I do with them? If you don't mind, drop your link there so you can check it out, where you can go to exchange them if the spirit strikes him. Craig says, I've been watching Have a Knife Days channel lately. Yeah, good stuff. Haven't seen his face, but he has a Jeff Goldblumish cadence to his speaking style, like a Ranger version of Jurassic's Ian Malcolm. Yeah, sort of. I mean, no. I mean, I'm not. Yes, but you meet him in person, and the impression is very different. Let me put it that way. And he's got a cool handlebar mustache, which I think he grows out once a year. An American Father says the Sharple dual grit diamond sharpener with leather strap sheath. Oh, that's cool. That makes sense, because that sheath is doing double duty. Is a medium grit Spyderco triangle. Oh, and the medium grit triangles keep my blades sharp in the field. What do you do in the field? I'm curious. An American Father, is this for hunting or out bushcraft outdoors activities, or are you in the military, or what do you do in the field? Dan Carlin, yes. I kept thinking George, but I knew that wasn't right. Dan Carlin is fantastic. Hardcore History is fantastic. I think the series on World War I is called Blueprint for Armageddon. World War II is called Ghosts in the Ostfront, which means Eastern Front, I guess. Also fantastic. Yeah, I did not listen to that one. I think I've heard almost all of them, or at least the ones I could get. A buddy of mine at work a number of years ago gave me a bunch of them. My favorite was the one on Genghis Khan, though, and the Mongols. Wow. Impressive figure. He killed 10% of people. 10% of people. So that is a decimation, right? Or is it a decimation when you kill 90% of the people and you leave 10%? I don't know. I know decimate means something about 10%. Mark Salva says, first of all, hey, Mark, nice to have you. Low drag jack, tops 3-pointer, the CJRB light and Boker mini Kalashnikov with an Alox Huntsman for good measure. Very nice. You hearing my chair squeak? It's a newish chair. It's the first time I've been hearing it squeak. Let's see. Have a Knife Day says, regrowing the mustache right now. A month's growth on the 11th. Veterans Day activities to follow. Awesome. An American Father says, retired as a chef. Now I guide suburban hunters and collect knives. That sounds like a cool path. Chefing. I'm getting more into cooking than I have in a long time. I used to be really into cooking, and then just the practicality of cooking for a family drained some of that enthusiasm out of me, because it was just like subsistence cooking, like we gotta eat, or I gotta pack food for the kids. Like I do the breakfasts in the morning. Since my wife, helps my younger daughter get ready, I do all the lunches, all 2 school lunches for my girls, and I do dinner at night on the weekdays, and then my wife does the awesome meals on the weekend, but I do the subsistence cooking. But lately, since I've been trying to cook on our fire pit outside, it's made me more interested in cooking inside. I'm like, wow, it's so much easier with gas than like trying to deal with a fire and make sure that the heat is consistent. I saw this really cool documentary that was on PBS at my mom's house my mom and dad's house a couple of years ago, that she recommended. And it was a recreation of some French or famous, I don't remember if it was French or English, but like some baron threw some famous meal, and a historical cook or something, was recreating that meal and how it was made. And so it was made on this giant cast iron stove / oven that was all fire. It was all fed with a wood fire. And the guy was talking about learning how to feed a fire and to get all these different kind of heats for different kind of dishes. And it was fascinating. Man, we have it so friggin' easy these days. And imagine, if we don't destroy ourselves or allow, our leaders to drag us down or even the playing field so that we're all equal scum, well, we'll continue to make things easier and easier on ourselves. I'm not so sure how good that is. I think we need to work, and I think we need to face adversity to be strong, but I don't know. I haven't faced a whole lot of adversity in my life. So, maybe I have it lucky and am speaking out of school. But anyway, cooking on an open fire has made me appreciate my gas stove a lot more, and the cooking upon it. Oh, yeah. Knife Junkie newsletter hasn't come out in a couple of weeks. I know that Jim has filled in some blanks for me because my usual recording time for the midweek supplemental is when I do the newsletter, but that recording time has been thrown off a lot the past few weeks. So it's been catch can, but definitely check out the newsletter. All it is some sort of brilliant anecdote, some sort of writing by me, some sort of little 3-paragraph knife story. But it's fun to write, and it's good to have. And let me just say, I know, glad to see you're all still here. Hey, James, good to have you, man. I think it's, I think this because Jim has instilled this in me, but it's really good to know people's emails, just in case YouTube decides no more knife content. It's like, how am I going to keep in touch with all you awesome people? So check out the newsletter, TheKnifeJunkie.com/newsletter. And here's what I suggest you do. You get the newsletter once a week, occasionally nonce a week, and then you open it and you read the first sentence. And if you're reeled in, you read the rest of it. If not, you close it up, but at least you've opened it. So check that out. Craig Vincent says, decimation was a Roman military punishment. Every 10th man was killed by his fellow soldiers. Jeez, man, we are not descended from weak humans. The 10th man. So, okay. So it was the first case. So it's 10% of the people end up going, right? Every 10 man. Yeah. Not a math guy. Yeah. So the engineers here can straighten me out. An American father says, I started out young on a wood fire broiler at a steakhouse in Kentucky. How cool. It's been in my blood ever since. That is cool. A wood-fired broiler. So broiler, does that heat from the top? Is that what that is? I know the broiler in a regular stove heats from the top, but is that what a broiler means? I wonder. I know salamander also heats from the top, but that just keeps stuff warm. That doesn't cook, right? Unless you leave it there too long. Bob's Pocket Knife says, today I carried all my copper EDC gear. I hope you had suspenders. Copper handled CJRB pyrite. Oh, I love the pyrite. Copper bolstered Boker slip joint, copper Zippo, and copper pen. I have a copper Zippo. It's old. It's from the 80s. It's pretty sweet. Copper flashlight. My belt was working overtime today. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's cool, man. I love I love brass. I know I just had them out here, my brass knuckles. Such a nice feel. Okay, sorry, you saw them. Such a nice feel, that brass. It just melts into your hand. And it even though it's a metal, it has a more of a warm feel, I feel, than steel. A warm feel, I feel, than steel. Pretty good. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I showed you this. I'm wondering. No, I don't have it close by. Let's see. Let's see. Will this do it? Ah, okay. I only have one Torx close by. It's an 8. Oh no, that's a 3. What am I talking about? Oh no, it is an 8 with half of it missing. I was going to take the scales off of this Beckwith Covert and see just what Chaz was talking about, but I will have to do that a different time. I just want to put the black handle on this and these on the black blade. I think it'll look cool, just to change it up a little bit. But these I know are now available on the Fisher Blades website. Go check them out. I'm really fond of this color. This FDE looks great. And I'm really fond of this knife as well. I love how you can draw it traditionally in reverse grip and have this big thumb rest here. But I also love, and I carry it, what do you call it? I carry it in a traditional fashion, tip down, edge back. But you can draw it very easily using the web of your palm right here, the web between your thumb and forefinger, to pull it out using that quillion and then get a great Pikal grip. So yeah, this thing is super sweet. Nice swedge on that blade. Very nice blade. This is M390, I think. I think these are all M390, though the steel is not marked on this one, I don't think. Made in the USA up there in Montana, a state I visited when I was 10, but it left such an impression. I can still remember what it looks like. Wide open and beautiful. Wide open and beautiful. They call it the Big Sky State for a reason. So yeah, Montana is becoming a pretty nice knife state. You got Montana Knife Company or Knife Works, whatever they're called, and then these guys. And I know that there are more out there. Yeah, Montana is a cool state, and they must have a good deal of freedom out there. That's how you know, because the knife makers start making knives. I wonder what's going to happen with certain states and whether they will continue to allow knives and other things like guns to be made. I mean, isn't Springfield Armory still in Massachusetts, which is crazy? The one of the least pew pew friendly states in the world, or in the country, I guess I should say. But I'm pretty sure Springfield Armory is still there. Isaiah says there's a guy, Abhijit Chavda. Okay, there's a guy, Abhijit. Okay, there's a guy, Abhijit Shabva, who must be Indian, I guess. One YouTube, he does geopolitics and history. Dan Carlin is dope too, but he only puts out a show on his podcast like once every 2 months. Yeah. He does a lot of his research and production takes a bit of time, but he's worth it. And I listen to so many different podcasts. Most of them are political, because I don't know, it interests me, Let's see. Reverend Jim says, gotcha, GM. Reverend Jim says, Google says a broiler is an oven element that cooks food quickly using high direct heat from above. It's similar to grilling, but instead of heating from below, the broiler heats food from the top. That's cool. I like, I just got a Dutch oven, a cast iron Dutch oven. I think it's so cool. Let's see, like my wife used it. I haven't used it yet. My wife used it cooking lentil. She makes an amazing lentil soup / stew. And we did it on the open flame. And so put it on the fire and then scooped up some hot coals and put it on the top because it's flat and it has a little ridge to kind of holds that stuff in. And so you're cooking it from all around like it's, which I think is pretty cool. Let's see. Abhijit Chavda episode on Khan is nicely done. All right, I'm going to have to check him out. Let me jot this down real quick because I will never remember Abhijit Chavda. Abhijit Chavda. Cool. Thank you, sir. Always like a recommendation. Yeah. All right. So I got this done. Got this given away. Let me see if I have anything else cool on this table to show you. Oh, indeed, I do. Actually, let me show you these real quick. I lost the knife can, but I'll show it to you right up front. This thing, I can't get enough of this thing. And this is Jock's Knives knife. He sent it to me first so I could check it out, and then I'll send it to him. But this thing, oh, it's so cool. I'm betting it's based on the Kanjar, or not the Kanjar, but the Yatagan, and then maybe some other knives too. But oh man, what a beauty this is. What a beauty. And an interesting thing here, interesting little detail, it's sharp as hell, dude. And even this swedge is very close to sharp. This is, you can get the double edge version where that's sharpened too. I think Jock will have no problem taking care of that if he wants to sharpen it. It's thin enough swedge, but a cool little detail. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it here. Probably not. I can barely see it myself, like with the naked eye. Oh, maybe along the plunge. Look along the ridge of the plunge line. You'll see a couple of vertical interruptions. And those are milling lines. So when this knife comes off the mill, it's covered with, you can see the mill lines. I can see them right near the ricasso. And then most of them are ground off, except you can see little shadows and hints of them right here. So kind of a cool artifact of the process. Very comfortable. This was the knife that at Blade Show West last year, this was a knife that Lynn Thompson bought and found to be, I think he thought this was the most interesting thing he had seen at Blade Show West or Texas. I can't remember which one it was. But what a compliment that is, in my opinion, to have Lynn Thompson look at something of yours and be like, this is the greatest thing I've seen all day. Like, right on, man. And he's seen quite a bit. One last thing I'll show you, Craig. That the Adovado. Sorry. But it's like a small EDC kitchen knife for, right here. And you got the edge down, tip in. You don't have to, but you've got the index point here because this is a collaboration with Ed Calderon and the Sneak Reaper thing there. So really cool. I love the Turner to CNC knives. I gotta just get one. I gotta start paying more attention and I gotta get one because they're very cool. And by the way, this sheath is 3D printed and it's pretty stout. Craig Vincent says, Bob, I busted my knife budget last month. Ooh, Trailmaster, Recon Scout, AD-10, and Natchez Bowie. My God, a gathering of eagles, sir. I was almost depressed when I saw the Swift 3. Then I discovered Sezzle, and hope was back on the scene. I don't know what Sezzle is, but if it allows you to buy more knives that you can't afford, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. An American father says, sorry, in my case, I was referring to a 10-inch long grill with wood-burning fire to cook with. Technically, not a broiler, but in my world, the words can be interchangeable. Is that a brazier? Brazier, B-R-A, or what is a brazier? I guess it's something you braise with, but I'm not sure I remember what braising is. But anyway, I keep saying that. I should run for president. Anyway, James Hart says, I busted my budget last month when I bought a tactical katana, manganese steel. Jeez, man, very sharp and well balanced. Not sure why I bought it, but I did. It was a little bit of information from beyond. It was just like, just get this. You'll be glad you did. And hopefully that's just for your collection's sake. All right, guys, that does it for me. Isaiah, I want OGK Chef's Line, Off-Grid Knives Chef Line as my next kitchen knife, or maybe the Turner CNC and Ed collab. Yeah, this one's a little small for a chef's knife. I would use this more as a carry utility knife, but that would be cool. What am I going to say? That'd be super awesome. All right, guys, thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. It's always a pleasure. And well, it's great talking with you guys. Be sure to join us on Sunday for a great Pinkerton interview. It's the best so far. I've had 3 conversations with him, and then he's been on he's come on Thursday Night Knives, I think, and I think he was on one of the 2020 shows we did, big shows. So join us on Saturday. Thank you very much for everything. And be sure, Chad, to send me your address. All right, for Jim working his magic behind the switcher, I'm Bob DeMarco saying until next time, don't take dull for an answer.